Recording. Welcome, everyone. We're glad you're here joining us today at Unity of Springfield. And know wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here in Unity. We're glad to have you with us virtually where you can stay warm in your homes today. And we are here for you and with you. So let's join together and share in Barb and Salo's Love is Infinity.
This is a song that I wrote this week. It was also probably inspired by the words of Mr. Rogers about love being infinite. It's just a simple little song um, with a bluegrass feel.
Love is infinity.
Love is infinity. Love is infinity. It goes on and on. Love is infinity. It goes on and on. Love is an endless thing and unites us all as one. Love is infinity. It goes on and on. Our souls unite as we lift each other up. Unconditional, unrefutable, as we fill the loving cup. Our souls unite as we lift each other up. Love is infinity. It goes on and on. Love is infinity. It goes on and on. Love is an endless thing and unites us all as one. Love is infinity. It goes on and on. Love is infinity. It goes on and on.
Thank you, ladies, for getting us started here. I'm going to share a video. We are focusing on the power of strength this month with Unity. Even though we're talking about love today for Valentine's Day, I wanted to share the video Unity has put out with regards to the power of strength.
There is strength in me. My mind is strong. It is positive. It is calm. There is strength in me. My body is vigorous, powerful. There is strength of purpose in me. Strength of faith. Strength that helps me stand firm. My God-given strength enables me to be my best self. Strength in me establishes right values. It keeps me reaching for higher goals. Strength makes it possible for me to be gentle with others. God-given strength is in all people. I look for it and call it forth with faith.
These short videos they put out are a good reminder to us that we have the power of faith, which was January, and we have the power of strength. And when they work together, wonderful things can happen. So we join together today with the Unity of the Blue Ridge in Mills River, North Carolina, as we join and begin in prayer. So we open our hearts, we open our minds to that stillness, that quiet presence that lives within us, that everlasting presence that is with us in our times of need and when we just want to feel that love. We know that as we open to that divine source that is available to us, we are in the flow of life, grateful for all that we give and all that we receive. We are in the flow and one with our Creator in love and faith and strength. And so it is. Amen. We have some announcements. This one's not in here, but I don't want to forget it, so I'm going to share this one first. At the end of today's service, don't leave right away. We have one quick question in the poll we would like to pose to everyone. And so stick around at the end of the service. We'll give you the poll right after our peace song. On Tuesdays at 11 o'clock, Ruth is hosting our Silence Unity prayer service in Zoom. If you're able to join us for the Silent Unity prayer service, we would love to have you with us. On Tuesdays at 5:30, Chris Farishon is leading us in a guided meditation. And if you're able to join us for that, we would love to have you there as well. Wednesdays at 5:30, Karen leads us in a gathering meditation, which is a contemplative meditation. And please join us for that if you are able. The Minister's Book Study, Braving the Wilderness. We have 2 sessions left this Monday at 11:30 and next Monday at 11:30. If you're able to join us for that, we would love to have you as well. Please reserve the date, March 28th, as it's the annual meeting date. And so just make sure that you're here and we'll have that available, and we'll be meeting after the service on March 28th. We have a writing workshop, Creating Your Legacy. Ken is going to do that workshop via Zoom, March 13th and 20th from 2 to 3:30. And so if that's something you were interested in, he was going to do this last year before Corona hit, and he's willing to do this on Zoom so he can help you with that creating and writing right now. We have an affirmation together in unity, and if you would join me in saying this affirmation together. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God, the source of all good. We have a vision statement, if you would join me as well together. A world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. And our mission statement together. We recognize God is love, individualized in all people. Therefore, we provide a positive environment for spiritual growth that empowers all to be God's love in the world. And today is February 14th, Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to all of you. Our daily word will be shared by Mary Disler.
Good morning. The daily word for today, Sunday, February 14th, 2021, is heart expression. And the affirmation, as you see, you are dear to me. I hold you in my heart. Sharing love is a wonderful way of discovering and responding to the divinity alive in every heart, binding us as a human family. My loving nature helps me see the best in every person whose life touches mine. Today, I remember one of the legends of Saint Valentine, in which he fashioned pieces of parchment into hearts, which he gave to others as tokens of his compassion and God's love. Today, the tradition continues when I say, you are dear to me. I hold you in my heart. With a card, gift, call, or a simple act of kindness. I share love with no expectation of reciprocation, and my heart welcomes every expression of love from others. Love's energy grows through both giving and receiving. And from John, chapter 13, verse 34, I give you a new commandment, that you love one another, just as I have loved you, and you also should love one another. Once again, our daily word is heart expression, and the affirmation, you are dear to me. I hold you in my heart. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. And as we go into our time of meditation, the words just spoke clearly to me that these words were the words of Karen Drucker's Face of God. So Barb is going to share that with us today as we prepare for meditation.
You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God.
So as we settle into our chairs, as we become still, as we open our hearts and we open our minds, we take in the words of Karen Drucker, you are the face of God. We breathe into that and we allow it to sit inside of us, knowing you are the face of God. And we release any pressure to be anything other than who we are, our unique selves. We are the face of God. We are how God shows up. We bless the world in our own special way. We come here with a divine purpose, each and every one of us. And we move easily and effortlessly in the flow of life, knowing we have a purpose and we are here for a reason. We are enthusiastically alive and a part of that mighty presence and power that exists within us. And so as we breathe into that knowing and that understanding, in this time of sacred connection with our divine source, we ask for the words and the wisdom that provide us with the strength and the love that we need to do what we've been asked to do. And so we take this time in the silence and we connect and we listen. that wisdom and knowing that is God within has sprung forth. It has illumined our mind and our heart. We go forward in this day, in this week, unhurried and unworried, knowing God is in charge. And we can rest assured that all is well. Grateful for this time of connection. Grateful for the words of wisdom we have come to understand. And grateful to know that we are the face of God. So I invite you, when you're ready, to prepare to come back to this time and this place. Perhaps begin wiggling your fingers and your toes and becoming more aware of the room around you. Taking in a breath, maybe taking a little stretch. And when you're ready, I invite you to open your eyes if you haven't done so already. Today's talk is titled, Love is the Reason. But first, I have words of wisdom that were shared by 5 to 10-year-olds who were posed with some question with regards to love and relationships. When asked, why do most people go on a date? One child said, on the first date, they just tell each other lies. It usually gets them interested enough to go on a second date. The next question, is it better to be single or married? It's better for girls to be single, but not for boys. Boys need somebody to clean up after them. She must have a brother. What's your opinion about love? Love will find you even if you're trying to hide from it. I have been trying to hide from it since I was 5, but the girls keep finding me. So today is Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. It's a day when our thoughts go to that love and appreciation that we feel for one another. I did some research and have come into an awareness of how the celebration of Valentine's Day got its start. According to various sources, the legend of Valentine's Day began in the 3rd century with a cruel and oppressive Roman emperor named Claudius II and a Christian priest named Valentine. After Claudius had ordered all Romans to worship the state religious idols, he made it a crime punishable by death to associate with Christians. But Valentine was dedicated to the ideals of Christ, and not even the threat of death could keep him from practicing his beliefs. And during the last week of Valentine's life, a remarkable thing happened. A jailer for the emperor of Rome knocked at his door, clutching his blind daughter in his arms. And the jailer had learned of Valentine's medical and spiritual healing abilities. And he appealed to Valentine to treat his daughter, who had been blind since birth. Now, Valentine knew it would be difficult to do, but he said he would try. And the little girl was given ointment for her eyes, and a series of visits were scheduled with her. And seeing that he was a man of learning, the jailer asked whether his daughter Julia, a pretty young girl with a quick mind, could be brought to Valentine for lessons as well as healing. So Valentine read her stories of Rome's history, described the world of nature to her, taught her about arithmetic, and told her of God. She saw the world through his eyes and found comfort in his quiet strength. She asked him one day, does God really hear our prayers? And he answered, yes, my child. Do you know what I pray for every morning and every night? She asked. I pray that I might see. I want so much to see everything you've told me about. God does what is best for us if we just believe, replied Valentine. Julia declared her belief in God, and together they sat quietly and prayed for long periods of time. And several weeks passed, and Julia's sight was not restored, yet Julia and her father never wavered in their faith. They returned week after week until one day Valentine was visited by Roman soldiers who destroyed his medicines and arrested him for his religious beliefs. Julia's father wanted to intervene, but there was nothing he could do. On the eve of his death, Valentine wrote a note to Julia, knowing that his death was imminent. He jotted the farewell note and handed it to the jailer for safe delivery to the little girl. His sentence was carried out the next day on February 14, 270 AD, near a gate that was later named Portia Valentini in his memory. When the jailer went home, he was greeted by his daughter Julia, and when the note was opened, discovered inside was a yellow crocus. In this note, Julia was urged to stay close to God, and he signed it, "From your Valentine." Just then, the little girl began to see brilliant colors for the first time in her life. Some would say, by the miracle of faith and love combined, her sight was restored. Valentine was buried in Rome, and it's rumored that Julia herself planted a pink blossomed almond tree near his grave. Today, the almond tree remains a symbol of abiding love and friendship. In the year 496, the Pope named February 14th St. Valentine's Day, and thus began the tradition of messages of affection and love and devotion being exchanged around the world. So legend has it. Today's lesson title is Love is a Reason, and it's really that simple. Love was the reason that Valentine spent his last evening of his life performing an act of kindness for the little girl he had only known for a few short weeks. Expressing the love of Christ was his reason for being. And for us, love is the reason that we are here. Love is the reason we heal. Love is the reason that we get up in the morning after what feels like a defeat. Love is the reason that we allow others to reach out to us. And love is the reason we gather with like-minded people. Love is the reason we serve, and love is the reason we exist. New Thought minister Mary Mann Morrissey once said, ultimately, what we really want and what really matters is the love we give, the love we receive, and the love we leave behind. That is what we learn when we come together in spiritual community. Mother Teresa said the same thing, just in another way. It's not how much we do, it is how much love we put into what we do that matters. And Marianne Williamson said it another way. The essence of a business is the vision behind it. An illumined vision is service to humanity. Service to humanity, service through love, service through giving the best that we have to give, whenever we can, to everyone we can, for as long as we can. Serving one another out of the inexhaustible storehouse of love that God wants to express through us. We have, as a church, agreed to tend to the homeless through our SOS program. We have a benevolent funds account. Anytime anyone wants to donate to this account, feel free. It's available to us anytime. It was set up 2 years ago at Christmas with the intention of having funds year-round to tend to those needs that people bring to us, to care for the community. The homeless situation here in Springfield is surely an issue the greater community has been attempting to solve for a long time. The interfaith group that I'm a part of has been discussing the homeless situation since I arrived. I was hearing few people in the group saying, we are only a small community, we could surely give towards something. Pooling our funds would work much better to accomplish things. I agreed. I heard what they were saying. So I felt called to take action. I think I shocked some perhaps when I said Unity of Springfield would be willing to seed this fund, and we sent them our first check a few months ago. As well, and I look forward to hearing what we can accomplish when we agree to work together. As we give, so we receive. This church community has opened its heart wider and wider and reached in deeper and is expressing the vastness of its love, both collectively and individually, and we've only just begun. There is so much more to do. Just think of all the opportunities that lie before us as a church community to express the incredible love that we are to the greater community. As we begin to consider possibilities, we know we have a powerful message to share. Why is this message worth sharing right now? Why is it so important? Because many people are hurting right now for various reasons. And Unity's message is powerful. It's uplifting and encouraging. There is only one power and one presence active in this universe and in our lives, God the Good. And there is only one in this room right now. Separate as we may seem, separate as we may look, separate as we might even want to be sometimes, there is only one. The power and presence of God. We are unmistakably one in spirit. And helping each other, serving each other, expressing love to one another is the reason we're here. A friend of mine shared a conversation that she had with a chaplain at Unity Village, in which the chaplain shared this beautiful message. Love for me is an alignment with the presence of spirit, a feeling of oneness. It expresses through deep and joyful thanksgiving for the abundance in my life, and by a desire to serve others. Love is about deep and joyful thanksgiving for the abundance in our lives, and love is expressed by our desire to serve others. We are told in the book, The Hidden Power of the Heart, greet everyone as family. Family is warm and nurturing. It feels good. Family loves without caring what your imperfections are. It doesn't necessarily have to agree with all of your choices, but family loves, supports, and nurtures us to help us make the best choices. Unity of Springfield is a family. We may not always agree, but we are in this together. We are here by divine appointment. There is not one of us going through anything that is not being felt by everyone in this church family. If one of us succeeds, we all succeed. If one of us is hurting, we're all hurting. When we pray for the healing of one of us, we are praying for the healing of body, mind, and spirit within every one of us. No one gets left out. No one is excluded. We are all uplifted by the deepening of faith and the expression of love. We all evolve or no one evolves. Simon Weil said, the love of our neighbor is in all its fullness. It simply means being able to ask, what are you going through? The reason we are here in spiritual community is to help each other over the rough spots, to celebrate the joys with one another, to heal, to evolve, to stretch, to learn to love ourselves, one another, and God more deeply. Each one of us has been given talents and gifts and abilities that are unique to us. Each one of us came here at this time to this place with these people that surround us under these conditions. and none of it's by accident. It was a divine appointment. It was an agreement that we would be here with the gifts that we have, the gifts that we are, and we would experience this journey together. Our purpose of being is to become more aware of the power and presence of God and develop a deeper appreciation of who we are as children of God. Finding a place like Unity of Springfield, where we are not only safe to use our gifts, but encouraged to do so, is an amazing gift to each and every one of us. We are safe to try new things, take on new responsibilities, test our wings a bit, stretch beyond our comfort zones, and haven't we done that this past year? We are safe here to be who we are and use our gifts. My friend's definition of love is this: love begins by creating an environment where it is absolutely safe to tell one another the truth. And that's so important. Implied in that definition is openness, acceptance, non-resistance, trust, non-judgment, the laying aside of ego and personal agendas, and beholding the Christ in one another. There is an implied spiritual and emotional maturity, plus a tremendous level of personal responsibility involved in being a part of a family where telling the truth to each other is absolutely safe. Because there is no such thing as it's only safe for one person. It has to be safe and loving on both sides of the dialogue. Many of us didn't have that in our families of origin or growing up. I once saw a poster of a man sitting in an auditorium with a big banner over the stage that said, "Annual reunion of children from normal families." And the picture shows this huge place with a half a dozen people sitting in the audience. Many of us can relate to that, but the truth is that we are now possess the power to create normal and loving and an environment of trust right here within our church family. And in every area of our lives and in our workplace and with our families and everywhere we go. Whatever we might have had in our earlier lives, that was then and this is now. We have answered a call to be here together, to change the future by creating for ourselves in the now. How wise of our souls to choose an atmosphere where we can all develop our potential, heal our wounds, evolve, learn, stretch, and be who God intended us to be. In the Unity Classic book, Lessons in Truth, Emily Cady says, "Unless you use for the service of others what God has already given to you, you will find it a long, weary road to spiritual understanding." By joining together in community here to experience the love and the presence of God together, we are making the road to spiritual understanding shorter, not longer. In another Unity classic, Let There Be Light by Elizabeth Sand Turner, we read, "With God's help, we can transmute our love into service to those about us. This is our highest duty." And in Joshua 24:15, we read, "Choose this day whom you will serve." We are being instructed to choose the object of our energies, our passion, and our love. We are being instructed to choose this day and every day whether we will follow the God of our being or follow our own will. We are being called to choose love over fear. We are being called to choose the activity of forgiving love over the activity of recycling our anger. We are being called to choose the love of God over human will. We are being called, number one, to acknowledge the gifts that make us uniquely precious to this world, and then to decide how best to use these gifts to heal others and ourselves. At one time, I had a friend who chose to have her checks embossed with the quote, "With God, all things are possible," right above the signature line. Her thought was that every time she would write a check and every time someone would see the check with her signature on it, they would see and know it's true. That with God, all things are possible. There is nothing we have been asked to do that is too hard for us, even if it feels that way on occasion. And in the tough times, that's why we are together, to hold the high watch, to see the truth, to pray for one another, to carry each other if need be, until we are able to maintain that position once again for ourselves. We are constantly in the role of giving or receiving, being the student or being the teacher. A car in neutral isn't going to go very far. And a human being stuck in between giving and receiving and doing neither is not going to get very far either. We were not created to stand still and become stagnant. We are created to take in and give out. The ebb and flow of the universe, the rhythm that rules the tides, is also within us. We must give love and we must receive love. It's the reason we exist. A group of people once met with the Dalai Lama for several days. Their meetings focused on what they believed to be the most important questions as we moved into the new millennium. The group was asked to come up with 5 questions before the meeting with the Dalai Lama, and these are the questions that they came up with. How do we address the widening gap between the rich and the poor? How do we protect the earth? How do we educate our children? How do we help Tibet and other oppressed people? And the 5th, how do we bring spirituality, deep caring for each other through all of our disciplines? The Dalai Lama said that all of the questions fall under the last one. If we have true compassion, he said, our children will be educated. We will care for the earth and we will care for those who have not. One person in the group asked this question: do you think loving on the planet is increasing or staying the same? His response was this: my experience leads me to believe that love is increasing. He shared with them a practice that will increase loving compassion in the world. And he asked everyone attending to go home and share this practice with as many people as possible. I guess it means it's my turn. Here's what he asked them to do. Spend 5 minutes at the beginning of the day remembering that we all want the same thing: to be happy, loved, and that we are all connected. Spend 5 minutes cherishing ourselves and breathe out cherishing others. If the faces of people we are having difficulty with appear, cherish them as well. And during the day, extend the attitude of love to everyone we meet. We are all the same, so cherish everyone. Ourselves, the grocery store clerks, the mail carriers, the clients that we have, strangers, our family, and even our coworkers. And the last request was stay in the practice and do not abandon it, no matter what happens. So let us go into this week remembering that love is the reason we exist. And let's give the Dalai Lama's practice a try. Let's spend a few extra moments of our day consciously bringing more love into our own lives and into the world. Perhaps we can begin each morning asking this question: God, whom shall I love on your behalf today? Whom shall I love on your behalf today? I invite us to let our loving service begin by seeking the answer to that question. Whom shall I love on your behalf today? Next week, our talk will be titled Walking in Greatness. This is a two-part talk. So it's Walking in Greatness, number 1. And until that time, we know that as we give, so we receive. We know that God works in mysterious ways and they're all a blessing. And so we're grateful for any gifts and tithes and anything that comes into this ministry, knowing we are blessed. So I invite you to join me in our blessing together. Divine love multiplies all that we have, all that we give, and all that we receive. And so it is. Thank you, God. A special thanks today to Bill Shepard and Paul Biggers for their bravery in tending to scheduled estimates for our HAVAC system in the midst of a deep freeze. There was some outside walking around involved in this. Thank you, fellas. And together, let's say our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you, God.